we had to try this. So what's going on, y'all? We're on to another episode of Second Floor Gardens. Today's episode of Tales from the Whip is going to be about the 6 P's. If you grew up in a military household like I did, more than likely you know what those are. And if you didn't, then the 6 P's are proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Pretty self-explanatory. Don't think they need to go into any depth of anything. So that applies to the garden also. It's not just a life or career type of thing. Also applies to the garden. Right now we have about 4 days, I want to say, until the 21st. So the 21st, if I'm correct, the 21st is the start of winter. That means that'll be the winter solstice. For most of us, especially those of us in Central Texas, that means that we ain't about to grow a damn thing else. We might have some greens or something that's going right now, but even those are starting to get kind of iffy. Might have some lettuces, not lettuces. Might have some lettuce. That's probably all that we have going on right now. Still kind of over from the previous season, but it's important with the garden because now is going to be the time that we want to start thinking about what we're planning on doing for next season. When the spring comes up, we have all these different ideas once it happens of, oh, I want to plant this, I want to plant that, I want to plant ghost peppers, I want to plant some lettuce, but I also want to plant some beets, I want to plant some carrots. We've got all these different things we want to do. A lot of that stuff, by the time spring actually hits, to be honest, you're kind of behind the eight. I'm gonna be real with you, and it depends on the area that you're in. For us in Central Texas, if you wait for the actual spring, like first day of spring to hit, you kind of behind the 8-ball, homie. You're a little bit behind the 8-ball, just because of how the weather is here. You know, even if you do abide by, you know, the Farmer's Almanac and all those different type of things, you're still kind of pushing it. You know, so you want to plan those things out to make sure that you have a successful season. Now, some of the things that I do, I'm going to share some of those things that I do with y'all for how I get ready for the upcoming season. As some of y'all know, we are in a new situation. We moved into a house, so we are no longer in an apartment. So the things that I did in the apartment, a lot of those things I'm still carrying over here, but there's some other things that I have to start doing now also. One of those things being like I don't have to solely plant in containers now. I can do things inside of a raised garden bed, or I can do things in the ground, but I have to plan those things out. If I know that my garden bed, I mean, normally you have a pot. Okay, cool, you get a bag of soil, you can fill up a couple pots, depending on the size of the pot. You can fill up a couple pots with that bag of soil. But if you have a raised garden bed, if you have a raised garden bed, and now you're trying to do things that way, now you have to take into consideration the size of that raised garden bed, the volume of that raised garden bed, and how in the most cost-effective way fill that garden bed. For those of you that don't know, make sure you check with your county or your city. They might have some program going on to where you're able to purchase larger quantities of soil or mulch or compost, so you don't have to keep going to the big blue box store or the big orange box store to purchase those things, you know, hand over fist. You know, it's costing you an arm and a leg to fill up a 16-inch tall or by a 7-foot long and 4-foot wide raised garden bed, and you plan on doing 4 of those. That's going to cost a lot versus you going the route of checking with your city, seeing what they have to offer, check with your county, see what they have to offer. So something that I do, one of the things that I do, I get all my pots together. I don't think that I posted the video. I know I remember shooting it, but I don't think that I've actually posted the video. But whenever it comes to the pots, get all your pots together. You might have some pots that are empty that you pour the dirt out on. You might use the dirt for the soil for something else. Now it's time to get all those cleaned up. Get all that calcium scraped off the bottom. Get them spider webs out from under there. You know, get them dunked up in that bleach water. Get everything washed up, dried. If you're like me and you label your pots, get some of them, especially if you're in Texas, some of them are going to need to be relabeled. Get some of those things relabeled. Now's the time to get all that type of stuff done. So whenever you get a chance to actually start planning and executing on that plan, everything just flows that much quicker. You don't have to wash the pots. You don't have to be like, oh, this one's dirty or anything like that. You just keep going. Okay? Your tools. Also check my tools. You always want to make sure that you take care of your tools. I believe I preached this. I had to say this in almost every one of my videos so far. Take care of your tools. If you have something that got broke, bent, damaged, chipped, whatever, now it's time to take inventory of that. You don't have to buy it this second, but keep in mind, okay, I need to get that new shovel. I kind of that soil was a little bit hard last season. I bent up that trowel, or it might be a new tool that you said, I want to get this, want to try it out. It might be time for you to go ahead and get that. You might have to get a new blade for your shears or something like that. You might have to get a sharpening stone for like a machete or something like that. Whatever you're doing is how you gotta. Now it's time to plan for all that stuff. Okay. What else? Another thing that I do, a big thing for me, a big key thing for me in my garden, and something that I'll make sure to do a video on later. I won't go into depth with it now, but I've made a garden planner. You call it a garden planner, garden tracker, does the same thing. But I just went out and bought a planner, just like a planner that you have for work or for school or for life period. Got a planner, and I put all the information inside the planner that I feel like I would need to have. So last frost date, first frost date, growth zone, elevation, chill hours for that area, all that type of stuff. I put that in like the front of the planner, and I also put that throughout the planner. And that's where I kind of keep track of different things. So I planted something on the side. Well, that's not the only place that I do it, but that's the main place where I kind of track everything. That's where, if I planted something, I'll make note of that. If it lets me know what days I'm going to fertilize. If I want to plan that out, I do that there. Or that's one of the places that I do that. If I need to find out how many days it is until my last frost date, I do that there. All that type of stuff is getting built inside that planner. But like I said, I'll do a video on that a little bit later. Technically, I've already made mine. I'm not finished with it. But just for y'all, I'll go out and get a whole new planner and show y'all what I do from start to finish. But yeah, I do that but that definitely helps out with the whole planning process of what I plan on doing. Because what I ended up doing last year, once we moved to the house, my thought was, hey, I want to have greens in the garden, so that way, of course, Thanksgiving come around. We really don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but we still got the family to come through and all that type of stuff, have food. So instead of having moms having to go to the store to get greens, hey, we got greens in the backyard, you got greens in the backyard, we deal with it here. But I got a late jump on it because I didn't plan properly, so therefore the performance was piss poor. When Thanksgiving rolled around, greens wasn't ready, so I didn't plan properly. I could have, but I didn't plan properly, so the performance was piss poor. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like now y'all are kind of getting the gist of everything. But like I said, planning is going to be a huge key in your garden. Making sure that you have the space for whatever it is that you're trying to do. Another thing, speaking on space, you don't want to be the person that's hogging up all the space. I have a wife that likes to get outside and do her own thing too. One of the things that I have, well, I've already done it, but the storage solution. How can I keep my equipment, get all that stuff stored up in a nice and neat place that's easy for me to access, but still doesn't take up all the space, so that my wife can still have space to do the things that she wants to do. Getting a chance to work all those things out. Now is the time to do that, especially if you live in Central Texas, because the winters don't really be wintering like that. It's just the hours just be short. You can get out. It won't be too, for most times, it won't be too cold for you to get out there. Now, once it starts to get towards the end of December and June, the end of December and January and February, more likely it'll probably be a little bit colder. But now it's a chance to get out there, get those measuring things going. Start to price out different shelves. Start to price out different storage bins. Start to think about, okay, let me see different storage solutions. How can I hang this rake up? Or how can I hang these items up so that it's not taking up too much space? Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So that's the main gist of everything. So make sure that now is a downtime for everything. Now is a really good time to get started on planning out the next year. get down what foods you want to grow, how you want to grow them, when you want to grow them. Well, how you want to grow them. Find out when's the best time for them to grow, when to start the seeds, how to start the seeds, get all that stuff figured out. And that's going to make that transition into spring a whole lot easier than just flying by the seat of your pants. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fly by the seat of my pants type of person. Hey, I'm down for whatever, but some things do require planning. And if we're getting serious about this gardening stuff, especially with how the world's kind of going right now, if you can supplement anything at home and not have to go to the grocery store to go get it, then by all means do it. And to get that done in the most efficient and effective way, you have to plan properly. So that's all I got for y'all. The other videos I recorded are way longer than this. It's actually bright so you can actually see me. But there was a wreck on the road that I take going home, and I had just got on that main road, so I had to kind of circumvent. We had to go all the way around to a whole different town, and I didn't know my way around that place or around that town. So of course I couldn't record the video because I had to see the map. But now that it's back, or now that I'm back on the road that I know, now I went ahead and made the new video. So this is a whole lot shorter. But like I said, I will be dropping that. I will be recording that video of the planner or tracker, whatever you want to call it. I will be recording that video, so you guys will be able to see how I do mine. Okay. Now I will let you know right now, I color code. That's me. I color code. You don't have to do it the same way, but just a heads up, that's how I do mine. So please plan yourself, or please govern yourselves accordingly. But just give you a heads up, it will be colorful all throughout there. So, you might want to try it. It helps out. It helps out. So that's all I got for y'all, man. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be safe out here. Y'all have a happy holidays. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a happy Kwanzaa. Definitely need to be celebrating Kwanzaa. If you don't know what Kwanzaa is, do your research on what Kwanzaa is. Us as a people should definitely be celebrating Kwanzaa. You don't have to buy anybody any gifts. It's something that we need as a people to start celebrating, because it is very, very, very important, regardless of how you feel about the beliefs of the person that created it or about the person himself that created it. Doesn't matter. It's the message. Okay. So yeah, y'all be safe. Have fun out there. Be kind to somebody, man. The world's an ugly place. Be kind to somebody, you know. All right, Second Floor Gardens. Y'all take it easy, man. Peace.